everyone, my name is Anastasia and I am a guest reporter. And today I'm going to talk about how people are now starting to do things alone here in Korea. So I don't know if any of you have noticed that it's completely normal now to go eat alone, study alone, go to cafes alone, and also just do everything alone. When I first came to Korea 2 to 3 years ago, I always used to see people doing things with their fellow friends, with people in general. And because I was new here, it was a bit, I'd always feel out of place because I was always alone. But as time keeps going by, things keep changing. And as things started changing, I thought it was sad. But the more I lived here, the more I realized it's not sad, it's not lonely, it's intentional. And so today I'll talk about why so many young people in Korea are choosing solo life and what I've personally learned from it as a student in Busan. So, what is solo life in general? In Korea, there's even a word for it called hanjok. Hanjok, usually like honja. Honja is like one. So hanjok, I best believe, is like solo. Yeah. So it's basically the culture of doing things alone, eating alone, studying alone, and traveling alone. That's what hanjok means. And also traveling is another thing. People are now traveling on their own. Like, wow, it's so satisfying because this is now something that I have grown used to. I'm used doing things alone, like eating alone, studying alone, traveling alone, doing so many activities alone, yeah. And you'll see it everywhere: single seat cafes, study booths, one person apartments. Being alone here isn't awkward, it's actually normal. So why is this happening? You might be wondering, like, why is honja becoming a common thing in Korea? And so I think one big reason is pressure. Young people in Korea grow up with a lot of expectations academically, socially, and even appearance wise. I'm pretty sure many of you have heard of the beauty standards. I'm sure many of you have heard of how it is, like how pressured they are for them to become academically oriented, right? So being alone sometimes isn't about isolation, it's about freedom. Not having to explain yourself, not having to keep up, because it's like the more you're with people around you, the more you have pressure. Maybe this one is doing way better, so now you want to catch up. So the art of being alone is becoming very common here in Korea. Then burnout and mental health. I think I've talked about burnout a lot in my previous articles because this is a topic, or rather this is something that keeps on growing gradually amongst especially us youths. So another big reason is burnout, just like I said. Korea is fast, everything moves quickly, and when you're constantly surrounded by people, expectations and noise, solitude becomes a way for you to just breathe and get away from everything that's happening out there. And for especially international students, I would encourage you to always give yourself time to move around alone, breathe, and just do things alone without your friends, without anything, without thinking about what everyone's thinking of, because burnout is really real. And especially people like me coming from countries where we're used to doing things at a very slower pace, everything in Korea is too quick. Yeah. So being alone becomes a form of rest, honestly, in this case. So solo doesn't mean lonely. I used to think being alone meant being lonely, but that's not always true. When I first came here, I was like, maybe I'm just a lonely person. Maybe I just don't have friends. Maybe I'm not just serious. Like, everyone has friends. Everyone gets here and makes friends. And now, a lot of people who live solo who live solo lives actually have friends. I do have friends too. So that we just choose peace more often. Like, I'll choose to be alone and do so many things alone. But there are times where now I'll have to do things with friends, visit friends, but mostly I choose to do things on my own. And honestly, I've learned that being comfortable alone is a strength and not a weakness. So personal experience in Busan, or rather in my university life, because I've done university life here in Busan. And as a student here in Busan, I've learned to do so many things alone. Study dates with myself, cafe time alone, walking around the city alone. Because when I moved to Busan, I moved alone. Most of my friends are like in different cities. And yeah, so I learned to do things alone. And that was the main reason I actually chose Busan. I wanted to do life alone. So, and it taught me independence. It taught me how to enjoy my own company without feeling guilty. There are times where you don't have people around you. You should be able to enjoy your own company, enjoy your own space, never feel lonely and all that stuff. Then social media and solo culture, sorry. So interestingly, social media has also made solo life feel more accepted, right? Solo study vlogs, cafe vlogs, quiet routines, they show that you don't need a crowd to enjoy life. And honestly, content creation is something that has really made me manage this whole solo life. It has made me feel more comfortable around people. It's actually something that helps me even socialize more with people just from creating what I create, because especially people that will watch my content, they're able to tell what type of person I am through the content creation that I create. So you can still be fulfilled, happy, and growing even on your own. So maybe young people in Korea aren't choosing solo life because they are lonely. Maybe they're choosing it because they are tired and they're learning to protect their peace. And honestly, that's something I think we all can learn from. Yeah, so it's not about being lonely. I don't think Koreans are choosing this life because, oh, they don't have friends or they feel out of place, but they are just trying to build their own peace away from people. It doesn't mean you have to